Hi, in this video, we are going to talk about the three most frequently asked FP&A interview questions. My name is Asif Masani, and my mission is to help 1 million finance professionals master FP&A skills. If you are new to this channel, do consider subscribing so that you receive more free content on FP&A. Now, with that, let's get started. So, the first question is, can you walk me through the P&L and the key drivers of your company? And now this question can be asked in two different versions. The first version can be, can you walk me through the P&L and the key drivers of your organization, which is the organization which you are working in right now? And the second version is, can you walk me through the P&L and the key drivers of our organization, meaning the organization of which you are giving the interview? So, two different versions. I am hoping for the first version you will not need a lot of preparation because you've been working in that company for so long. For the second version, you will have to do some research by going through the P&L and the key drivers of the organization beforehand. And you can do this by looking at the company's annual financial statements, quarterly earnings releases, or management reports. And you don't have to go through the entire P&L statement. What you can do is go through the top 3 to 5 income and expense line items. Now, let's say I am answering this question for a banking company. This is how typically a P&L of a bank looks like. First, let's talk about the income side. The most important line item on the bank's income side is the interest income. This is a bank's core income earned from accepting deposits and making loans. Apart from the interest income, bank also earns non-interest income. This typically includes transaction fees and commissions. Examples of transaction fee is fee on non-maintenance of minimum balance or ATM fees, while commissions include commissions on sale of third-party products like investments and insurance. On the expense side, the main expense of the bank is interest expense. This is the cost of acquiring funds that the bank uses to lend out. Another big expense on a bank's P&L is provision for loan losses. This is the expense set aside for bad loans and defaults. Apart from the interest expenses and the provision for loan losses, other important expenses include the salary cost, the branch cost, which is typically the cost of maintaining the branches, which includes rent, utilities, etc., and the cost incurred on technology, which is the cost incurred on technology platforms like mobile and internet banking. So that was the P&L. And next we move on to the drivers. Again, you don't have to talk about 10 different drivers. You can just mention the top 3 to 5 drivers. In the case of a bank, the top 3 drivers could be the net interest margin, which is the difference between the interest earned on loans minus the interest paid on deposits. The other key driver could be the efficiency ratio, which is nothing but the cost to income ratio of the bank. Return on assets and return on equity could be the other key drivers. With that, now let's move on to the second most frequently asked FP&A interview question. The question is, can you walk us through a time when you prepared a budget or a forecast in your previous FP&A role? Let me repeat that. Can you walk us through a time when you prepared a budget or a forecast in your previous role? Now, why is the interviewer asking you this question? The objective of the interviewer asking you this question is that he or she wants to understand your experience with budgets and forecasts, which are two of the most common FP&A functions. So, how do you answer this question? Now, after working with and looking at the budgeting and forecasting process for over 5 different companies, here are some of the common steps that happens across industries. Step number 1 is that you collect the historical data. In this step, you collect the historical information for say last 3 to 5 years and analyze that data. Step number 2 is you liaison with different business teams. In this step, you reach out to the different business teams and let them know their role in the budgeting or the forecasting process. Most times it will involve you preparing some templates that will be required to be filled by the business teams, and then the business teams will fill up those templates and send it back to the FP&A team. So that was step number 2. So step number 3 is, after receiving all the inputs from the different teams, FP&A team will put together the entire company's budget. In step number 4, the FP&A team and the senior management will review that budget. Obviously, there will be some changes or revisions that will be requested by the senior management. After all those changes and revisions are done, there will be a final version of the budget or the forecast that will be agreed upon, and that will be used as a point of comparison. In case of the budget, it will be used as the target for the next year. In case of a forecast, it will be used as a point of comparison for the next period. These are some of the common steps that happen in the budget and the forecasting process. Now, these are common steps. Now, what will help you is if you can add a little bit of flavor from your personal experience of doing the budgets and forecasts from your previous role. Now let's move on to the third most frequently asked FP&A interview question. So here is the question. Describe a time when your analysis significantly impacted a business decision. Let me repeat that one more time. Describe a time when your analysis significantly impacted a business decision. Now, why is the interviewer asking you this question? The reason behind interviewer asking you this question is that the interviewer wants to understand how effective you were in your previous role. I like to approach these types of questions in 4 steps. So step number 1 is to talk about the analysis that you did. Step number 2 is to talk about what was the key insight that came out of that analysis. Step number 3 is, how did you manage to convince your manager or senior to implement a change based on that insight? And step number 4 is, what was the final result or the impact that the analysis created? So let's take an example. I conducted a product profitability analysis where I analyzed all the projects that were undertaken by my company. After analyzing all those projects, I realized that there were some projects which were having very low profit margins. Now, what I did was I shared that insight with my manager and we together presented that to our CFO. As a result of that presentation, what happened was we discussed a scope change and a fee revision with some of our low profitability clients. That resulted in us having a better profit margin in the next quarter. So that's an example of what was the analysis that you did. In this case, you did a product profitability analysis. What was the key insight that you figured out of that analysis? So in this case, the key insight was that out of the all of the different clients, there are some clients which are having very low margins. How did you convince your manager and your senior to take action? You first took your manager in confidence and then you together presented that to the CFO. The impact was that there was improved profitability in the next quarter. If you are serious about your career in FP&A, then do watch this webinar on accounting to FP&A and check out our group coaching and self-paced FP&A programs. Also, you can download the 9 key FP&A functions cheat sheet from the link in the description below. Share your thoughts or questions in the comments below and let me know what topics you'd like me to cover next. And for more content on FP&A, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Thank you for watching and I will see you in the next video.